I'll tell you that I'm committed to it.
All right.
I'm in.
I'm in.
And we got two.
Who else is in?
Southwest Light Rail moves ahead with a rally in North Minneapolis and a green light from the Met Council. Jennifer Munt is very much on board.
It's just sort of a wild idea. I don't know why I brought it up.
Mary Stanik on Condoleezza's speaker fee, and humorist Jon Spayde channels a post-digital TED Talker.
The figurative and the literal have like joined hands here.
This is Democratic Visions. Here's producer Jeff Strait.
An important decision was made on the Southwest Light Rail Transit Project on April 9th.
Aye.
The Met Council accepted the recommended budget, scope, and alignment of the project. The southwest end of the new Green Line will operate from a station near Eden Prairie City Hall to Target Field. It will include 2 light rail tunnels, a bike trail, and freight rail through the Kenilworth Corridor in Minneapolis, and an operations and management facility in Hopkins. The east leg of the Green Line to downtown St. Paul begins operating on June 14. Our side of the equation, if there are no delays, will begin passenger service in 2019. Its estimated cost is $1.7 billion. We welcome to this table Jennifer Munt, one of Southwest Light Rail's chief champions. Tell me, what stage of the planning is the project in right now?
We're entering a 75-day municipal consent process where...
Municipal consent, that's a $20 phrase. What does it mean?
Municipal consent means that all 5 of the cities along the line have to sign off on the project before we can move forward with construction. So Minneapolis, St. Louis Park, Hopkins, Minnetonka, and Eden Prairie will all have discussions with their residents before we move the project forward. What we're bringing to them are the scope and the budget for the project, and they get to sign off on that.
They're gonna be public hearings, right, where folks down my street can show up and ask questions?
Typically what happens during municipal consent is neighbors will come and say, how is this going to affect my property? How am I going to be able to access the station?
Sure.
Businesses are already stepping forward and saying, gosh, couldn't we add an additional station because we see that it would benefit our business or our property? We have folks in Minnetonka who are interested in having a light rail station near some high-density apartment buildings. So this is the opportunity to negotiate for the things that each city will need in order to maximize the potential of the stations in their area.
Now, when are these hearings going to happen? Different times in different cities?
The Met Council has already sent design plans to the cities. We will hold a public hearing with the Met Council in Hennepin County on May 12th, and then the cities will each have 45 days to offer municipal consent. Typically what will happen is a city will invite people who live within a quarter mile of the light rail station and the tracks, and they'll invite the general public. People will have the opportunity to come and weigh in and ask questions and raise whatever concerns they have about the light rail.
Jennifer, you live in Minnetonka, and you are a Met Council member for District 3. Now, District 3 includes 16 suburban cities in the Lake Minnetonka area, including Eden Prairie and Minnetonka. How long have you been a fan or a supporter, advocate, and champion of light rail?
I was a champion of light rail when I came out of college, and I worked for Hennepin County Commissioner John Darris. At the time, he envisioned 20 light rail tunnels underneath downtown Minneapolis. And at the time, he negotiated the deal, which allowed the county to acquire the right-of-way that makes light rail affordable today. He called it Operation Prairie Fire. The counties in the metro area wanted to acquire abandoned railroad right-of-way for future light rail service. Folks in greater Minnesota wanted to acquire those abandoned railroad right-of-ways for snowmobiles and for horseback riding trails. He was able to put together a deal that allowed counties to acquire abandoned railroad right-of-way, and because that land was acquired affordably 20 years ago, it makes it possible for us to build light rail projects today.
Jennifer, last fall, Governor Dayton did delay the project. It's back on track now. What have we learned, and where are we going?
The pause gave us a chance to do 2 studies. The first one assured us that the light rail tunnels will not harm our chain of lakes. It also showed us that we haven't overlooked any routes from previous studies. That allowed us to also take a look at how we would restore both bikes and trees to the Kenilworth Trail. I think we found that we're able to do that in a way that improves the trail and improves the vegetation that makes it such a beautiful area.
Jennifer, I've been attending a lot of meetings since last summer. Significant work and planning have been accomplished, and it's a process that has involved meetups with federal, regional, state, and municipal planners and officials.
The ability to move on to Mitchell Road for some of that parking.
For the last 3 years, citizens, businesses, and elected officials along the line have looked at every single decision that helped to shape the scope and the budget for the project. People have weighed in from the ground level, and that's important because it's the citizens who travel in the neighborhoods. They know how best bicyclists and pedestrians can reach their stations. They know best about how we can maximize the potential of every station. Early on, somebody said that the light rail is like a bracelet, and it's our chance to put the charms on that bracelet.
That said, it's clear to me that the regional media, print, electronic, and the web, have been obsessed by controversies in Minneapolis and the Kenilworth corridor and rerouting possibly trains through St. Louis Park. They have ignored Eden Prairie, Minnetonka, Hopkins, and believe it or not, North Minneapolis, which has 4 stations on its southern apron. No talk about that. That's why I attended this public forum called for by Congressman Keith Ellison in North Minneapolis at the Summit Academy.
And when you do set this line coming through here,
the forum's charge was to hear what Northside residents, leaders, and public transit advocates had to say about the new light rail line and its stations. Congressman Keith Ellison began by referencing a Martin Luther King speech delivered a half-century ago.
He said, transit systems have become a genuine civil rights issue and a valid one, because the layout of rapid transit systems determines the accessibility to jobs to the black community. That's what he said. From the start of the civil rights movement, transit was central to the struggle. As you may recall, organizing of the sleeping car porters to the Montgomery bus boycott. These civil rights issues started around issues of transit and transportation. And still, we're facing serious transit equity issues here in the Twin Cities today. Low to moderate income households spend about 42% of the total annual income on transportation.
The Minneapolis Regional Chamber has been actively engaged in transportation and transit. Well, I've been here 11 years, longer than I've been here. We formed a partnership with the St. Paul Area Chamber 10 years ago to move the business voice for the Central Corridor. We actually knew it was going to cost money, it was going to cost business taxes, and yet we still did it. And a few years ago, 2 years ago, we put forth or shared in the idea of a new half-cent sales tax which would impact business greatly in order to keep transit and transportation moving. So why do we do this? Business people are supposed to be smart about money. Sometimes people say we're too smart about money. We do it because we need this transportation system the same way your body needs a circulatory system. Everybody should be playing in this game of working in the metro area to further themselves, to further their families, and to further the overall region. Well, how can you be in if you can't get to work? 67% of the people in 94 million rides, 67% of those are people going to work. 13% are people getting ready to go to work because they're going to education so they can get the best possible job. This is critical for the business community and critical for all of you and all of us. We also do not have enough people to do the jobs of tomorrow. I know it sounds hard to believe today when we know people that are out of work or are underserved by work with part-time jobs, but in the next 5 or 6 years, we will not have enough qualified workers for those jobs. And then we need to bring people here that don't live in Minneapolis-St. Paul marketplace now. And we need those millennials, we need the 25, 35-year-olds to come here, and what brings them? Options. Work options, play options, transportation options. So we don't have those options. Plenty of other cities do, and plenty of other cities are building more quickly than we are to make those options happen.
It's a shame, and I think it's a crime, that the congressman can quote from Dr. King and it can still be relevant to us today. 50 years ago, somewhere in the line, you know, the spigot gets closed off and it doesn't quite reach us. Y'all know who I mean by us, right?
Yeah.
I think it's time that we begin to correct those obstacles and those problems that are in the way, because yes, we need a viable transit system and transportation system in North Minneapolis. We do. But then the economic engine that's gonna run alongside and cooperate with, because it is in our neighborhood, is gonna provide the sustainability and the access that we need to truly be the equitable communities that we need. So one of the things that I think we need is, I think we need my good friend Commissioner Haig here to talk with my other good friend's wife, Mayor Hodges, about how we get around these obstacles. If we miss this opportunity, we miss a key strategy to make the investments to North Minneapolis to connect us, yes, to jobs, but also to wealth. We don't need to just be getting money in our pockets. We need to be putting money in the bank.
As a community, when we build this 21st century transit system, we not only create good jobs for workers building the light rail line, we create economic development for the whole Twin Cities. But our cities are struggling to get this Southwest light rail line done. I would urge everyone here to call your city council member, call your mayor, and urge them to support the Southwest light rail. If our transit system stops, we will lose the opportunity to connect our communities. If our transit system stops, the north side is left behind.
After the panelists spoke, the mic was handed over to others, including Met Council Chair Susan Haig.
And I see that as another investment in equity.
Most, but not all of the attendees were from North Minneapolis.
We need to make sure that there are going to be businesses and some economic growth, and not just a pass-through for people looking out the window of a train that's going by.
I think that the Southwest line is a good thing. I think it makes sense to have a line that's going through to take people from St. Paul all the way out to Eden Prairie. But that's not the heart of our community. And so we need transit options right in the heart of our community. And we need an agreement that, in fact, we're going to get economic opportunity right in the heart of our community.
I always think, who do you expect to do it if you're not going to do it? I mean, I'm not, and with love. Gary has made an excellent question about equity. I think that's an excellent point.
It's the right question.
So excellent of a point that I'll tell you that I'm committed to it.
All right.
I'm in.
I'm in.
And we got 2.
Who else is in?
I'm in. We got 4. We got 5. We talked about, the young lady right there said 32% minority hiring goal, 6% women. What is, let me ask you a question. What is 32% times 0? 0. So if the Southwest line doesn't happen,
Make that 0.
Just saying.
What'd you say, Mr. Congressman? I don't know if I heard you.
But my point is, we've got to say we're going to do it. That's what I say.
We're totally isolated if you don't have a vehicle, and it involves multiple transfers. The idea that we get this rail line built, and I can take a bus down Penn, and my neighbors can take a bus down Penn, and be connected to options in the suburbs and in the lakes part of the city. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I understand some of the concerns that other folks in Kenwood and other places have. I get that. I think we're all sensitive to that. But if we're talking about equity, that has to mean something. And that means connecting this part of the city to other parts of the city and to the larger metro area. It's a very simple decision to make. Either we agree that we're one city or we're not, and I hope we are.
If you run buses up and down different corridors on the north side, you will be connecting people to the light rail. We have a chance to turn what is now a wasteland, okay, into a promised land of jobs and economic development that will benefit the north side.
We are dedicated to make sure that that area is developed for businesses, for people who live here now, for other businesses that want to come in, so that we have jobs and we have choice.
I'm with the Sierra Club. For those of you that don't know, it's the oldest and largest environmental organization in the country, and we have thousands of members up and down this corridor. We don't have a position on the route, but we do want this project to happen, and from an equity lens as well. That first and last mile of any transit project is really critical for how you get to that train.
The best thing that we can do is to encourage the elected officials, the folks at the Met Council, at all levels of government, to find a way to say yes. There's got to be a way to keep moving this project forward. If this project doesn't go forward, the whole network and system of a comprehensive transit plan goes down the tubes, goes back probably 10 years, maybe more. We lose our place in the line. Southwest has a special position with the feds. And what we really are trying to build, I think, collectively, is a comprehensive transit system that creates a connectivity that's unheard of in our metro region, that we haven't had since we had a streetcar system that connected the Twin Cities up to the suburbs.
Now, what I got out of that public forum in North Minneapolis was a message that we got to get this project done.
This is an opportunity train, Jeff. A family that can get by on one car instead of two has $10,000 a year more in their pocket. That puts them on the path to owning a home instead of renting a home. Our line connects to 14 higher education institutions as part of the Green Line extension. Yeah. That means we're connecting affordable housing to living wage jobs and the higher education that you need in order to get a better job and create a better life for you and your family. We also know that young people crave a less auto-dependent lifestyle where they're able to walk and bike and leave the car in the garage. This will give us that opportunity. We also know that businesses can't attract the best and the brightest if people have to spend more time in traffic than they do with their families.
Jennifer, so we need a little levity. So here's MinnPost writer Mary Stanik to share her thoughts on Condi Rice's speaking engagement at the new Northrop Auditorium.
So I guess former Secretary of State Condi Rice spoke here at the University of Minnesota on April 17. We're told that she met with a small group of students and attended a VIP reception and dinner. I'm wondering if the state's tourism department was disappointed that she didn't do anything like, I don't know, water ski on the pond in Roaring Park. In any case, we're told that Rice was paid $150,000 by the university to speak for about an hour, plus deluxe class travel expenses. We are told that her fee was paid by the Lecture Series Endowment Fund of the Carlson Family Foundation. I, for one, am happy that the fee wasn't paid by the Tuition Assistance Fund, because when you think about it, $150,000 could pay for tuition, fees, books, and living expenses for about 5 undergraduates for 1 year. It's just sort of a wild idea. I don't know why I brought it up.
Charity, sacrifice, and
Another
compassion.
former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, is reported to receive $200,000 per speech. But I'm guessing that she needs the extra $50,000 to pay for the pantsuits and hairdo she's going to need during the 2016 presidential campaign. Of course, if one wanted to discuss gender income equality, we could talk about why Bill Clinton receives almost $250,000 per speech. We could. I'm just wondering if Rice discussed the details of her workout sessions with George W. Bush during the course of her speech. But I'm guessing that sort of honesty would cost far more than $150,000. Still, I'm sure a lot of Minnesotans would have liked to have seen Rice water ski. And at $150,000 per speech, she certainly has enough money to pay for lessons to learn how. In Minneapolis, I'm Mary Stanik, earning far less than $150,000 per commentary.
Now, if you want to get in touch with Mary Stanik, it's easy. Just go to marystanik.com. That's marystanik.com. Now, Jennifer, I don't want to put thoughts into your mind, but I think we could both use a little more levity. I knew you'd agree. And it's going to take the form of a discussion I had earlier this year with one of Jon Spayde's great characters, post-digital visionary Ted. Mr. Spayde is an improvisational humorist. The name TED is a satirical homage to Hotter Than Hot TED Talks on technology, entertainment, and design. There are hundreds of them on YouTube. Here's Mr. Spayde. It sounds like you're running against the currents here.
Yeah, technically, in quotes, sure, right,
Sure.
against the currents, whatever, you know, I mean, whatever you want to call it is what it is, because we just, you know, bingo.
Now, have you ever been a TED speaker? Have you ever fashioned a 17, 18-minute long speech?
No, you know, that's for those folks, man. I'm in another place. Wow.
What place is that? Yeah.
It's this, like, you see, what they don't get, and almost nobody gets, right, is that when you do like a TED Talk, right, you set up your TED Talk, you got your talk, your people, they're talking, and here's the guy presenting, and right, it's so like, I don't know, 1993 August or something, you know, we are so beyond that. I would say we were beyond that, but even saying that we're beyond that is like so right now, and we're over, totally over. And so whatever they say, the moment they say it, bingo, gone, right down the rabbit hole. Who cares?
But you know, thousands of views every day.
Oh yeah.
Of these TED Talks, and you're saying it's over with.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, because I mean, this is like axiomatic, right? Okay, totally, because. The very fact that we're here with it, like, you know, I'm bracketing like what we're saying about this.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. Gone. Down the river of time, man. Over. So over. Done and dusted, as the Brits say, man.
It seems to me that at one time you really craved to be a TED talker, to be on that program.
I was.
And that you failed.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Play that. You know, play that. I mean, that's that's okay.
Did that happen
That's
to you?
your framework. Okay. Happened to me. Yeah. I mean, there's a narrative where we could say this happened to me, blah, 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 right? Yeah. But really what I am and what I'm doing is I'm trying to talk about all of those narratives were born in brackets, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're born in brackets.
What does that mean? I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, well, no, you don't, because we're at different levels here. And what we're trying to do is get to the same level, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, right. But
does that mean me climbing up to you, or you coming down to me, or what?
I don't spatialize it like that. I do not spatialize it.
Fine,
okay,
sure.
It's like whatever this, you know, this motion is. That's what we're doing, okay?
Okay.
And then gone. You know,
post-digital. Why post-digital?
Because like everyone's, you know, mobile, social, mobile, social, social, mobile. Okay, it's so over.
But so you're against computers, against social media.
I'm not against them, man.
Okay.
No. They're a ghost. They're a ghost through which I passed, through which others are passing. You know, but I don't make them into a thing. I don't have a thing about them. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It's just like more like this. Think about this.
No, this has strong echoes of the lost generation, of the beat poets of the early 1950s in the Village. You know, the sound of one hand clapping.
You're Zen and that whole
that
thing with the deal.
Yeah.
And
is that where you're going?
I have been there, is the thing. We've all been there. I mean, it's a collective ship.
For you, what is the thing, though?
Oh, there is no the thing.
Okay.
I mean, reification itself would be the enemy if we had enemies, but enemies are so accepted time.
No, you're on a television show here. That means you must be motivated to proselytize a little bit about your stance.
My stance is like, I'm in the chair, man, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I know. We have to ask.
Figuratively?
Yeah. Both the figurative and the literal have like joined hands here.
Okay.
For the last, I don't know, minute and a half, I'd say.
In the post-digital world, what is a search term?
Wow, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that question, right? And you know why I like that question?
Why?
Because it's a 4-level question, right? All the levels are kind of, I don't know, oscillating together with that question, because what is a search term?
Yes.
Question mark. Yeah. Right? Okay.
How do you select? Do you select your own personal search terms?
My personal search terms are not personal, but they are search terms.
But they must come out of your your head or your heart or something?
They occupy a space which I call post-digital.
Okay,
right?
fine.
And there they are.
Okay.
And here I am.
Uh-huh.
But my interaction with them, I couldn't call it appropriation anymore, because appropriation is so performance art, New York, 1977.
Sure. What's the most digital you're going to get? Do you ever get digital? I mean, you've got to use digits. I'm not talking about fingers.
Posable thumbs?
Okay,
cool.
posable thumbs.
I jumped you there. Yeah,
very
right.
funny,
That's
very
cool.
funny, yeah.
Yeah, no. I've got like a smartphone to talk to my nephews, man.
You do?
Yeah, I'll cop to that.
Okay. Twitter and various bloggers say, hey, this is trending.
Oh,
now,
I love it. I love it. Trending.
Are you trending now?
Oh, trending. I'm trending.
Yeah, are you?
Yeah. At the level where things trend, I'm trending. But I mean, I've tiptoed up a little. I don't want to say higher.
Sure.
But trending.
Are you a guest speaker at colleges? Lead symposiums? And
I do the thing, the Aspen thing. I've been there.
Okay.
And I do the thing at the Chautauqua, whatever.
Up in New York State.
New York State.
Okay.
1,000 gibbering youth call me God. From time to time.
What event in Minnesota have you spoke to, and could you tell me how Minnesotans are reacting?
I've been down to New York Mills for that Think Off thing,
New York Mills,
and, it's very sweet. I mean, the locally churned butter is beautiful, and there's all this local food thing going on. It's very greeny.
Do you make any money at this?
There is money.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing about post-digitality, or digitality, really, post-digitality,
sure.
is exactly the same thing with the digital era. The money thing was kind of mysterious. It's like making a profit, not making a profit. How are we doing? Initial public offering, no money in the thing.
You never did that, right?
Oh, I did that. I had a period of that.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
And the mystery of that. I mean, the fact of that just kind of shot me through to the other side, because certain things no longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow. Bingo.
Wow. And bingo.
Yes.
Bingo.
I love that in a bracket, though. It's in a bracket. Yeah.
Wow and bingo.
Wow and bingo.
Any advice for those of us who still live in a digital world, who have
just love it, do it. Do what you think you're doing. Let it be. Just don't mistake it for the edge, man. Because the edge is asymptotic. Right? We talk about being on the edge.
What is
being
that
at
word?
The edge. Can be approached. Can never be reached. Can be approached. Can never be reached.
Can never be reached.
Wow, it just misses every time. That's why I love it so much. This is where we are. Where we are is this. Gotcha.
Say, Jennifer, thanks for coming. Good work. And at some point, I want to take that train from the Mitchell Station to downtown St. Paul and maybe see a St. Paul Saints game.
I'm with you.
No transfers. Thank you.
Democratic Visions is independently crafted by volunteers, mostly Democrats, from Eden Prairie, Minnetonka, Edina, and Bloomington. The presentation of guests and opinions on this program does not indicate endorsement by the state DFL party or DFL Senate District 48.